Okay, welcome everyone to this webinar entitled A Short Course Project Management. I'm Dr. Ron Bedilla, and guiding you through the short course that explores foundational tools every project manager should be familiar with. This course is designed to be practical and interactive. So I encourage you to engage by sharing your experience, asking questions, and reflecting on how the content applies to your own work. Over the next sessions, we will cover the entire project lifecycle and how to manage cost, scope, time, and quality effectively. Can you chat one if you're here? Can you type one in the chat box? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you type one in the chat box? Is anyone here? Okay, thank you. Wang Shushu and Shizinan Udini. Sheshe, good afternoon. Lin Hong Yu, good afternoon. Let's start by defining project management. According to the Project Management Institute, or PMI, it is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities in order to meet or exceed stakeholder needs and expectations. This means project management is not just about meeting deadlines, it's about delivering value to stakeholders. Whether you are developing a new app, constructing a new building, or organizing a marketing campaign, you are applying project management principles. This structured approach helps reduce risks, improve quality, and ensure success. So that's project management. All right? It's not just about meeting deadlines, it's about everything. All right? Understood? Okay. Now, a project is defined as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create product or service. Meaning to say, the keywords here are temporary and unique. Unlike routine operations, a project has a definite beginning and end. For example, building a mobile app is a project, but maintaining it post launch is an ongoing operation. Projects can vary widely in size and complexity, from launching to designing a new, for example, for launching a new brand campaign to designing a space shuttle. So understanding this distinction is crucial because it affects how we plan and manage our work. So that's project. Okay, if you have any question or clarification, just type in the chat box. Okay, next. Now, who oversees all of this? You, as project manager and part of project management team, defines a project manager as the person responsible for the project and accountable for its success or failure. So this is a heavy responsibility. The project manager must balance technical tasks, resource allocation, team dynamics, and stakeholder communication. So it's a holistic approach. Think of a conductor in an orchestra. Have you watched an orchestra before, or have you had an experience to watch a musical? Have you watched a musical before or Broadway? Let me see in the chat box. Have you had an opportunity to watch a musical before? Nan, yes or no? Have you watched a musical? So there's a conductor. Each musician is talented, but it's the conductor who ensures they play in harmony. Similarly, a project manager ensures all moving parts come together efficiently. Okay, understood? Press 2 if you understand everything so far. Press 2. If you have no question, clarification so far, press 2. Are you still here? Wang Shushu, Li Jinwen, Lin Yuan, Lin Hongyu, Shi Shinan, Wu Dini. Are you still here? Press 2 if no questions. Okay. One of the fundamental concepts in project management is the triple constraint, also known as the project management triangle. It consists of cost, time, and quality or scope. The idea is that a change in one of these constraints affects the others. For instance, if you shorten the timeline, you may need more resources, which increases costs. Understanding how these interact is critical to project success. As a project manager, you often have to negotiate and prioritize among these constraints. So, how are you going to balance everything? Balancing the project triangle requires more than technical knowledge. You need people skills, strategic thinking, and the ability to plan thoroughly. For instance, let's say your client wants a website developed quickly, at low cost, and with premium features. Something has to give. Perhaps you extend the timeline or reduce the features. A great analogy is travel. You can drive, take the train, or fly. Each mode of travel has trade offs in cost, time, and comfort. The key to project success is understanding stakeholder priorities and making informed trade offs. So, project management follows a process: initiation, planning, execution, controls, and close out. Are you still here? Press 3 if you're still here. And if you can hear me, press 3. Hello, press 3. Thank you, Wang Shushu. Thank you, Wudini. These phases guide the project team concept to completion. Thank you, Shi Zinan, Lin Hongyu. Thank you. Execution is the implementation of the plan. Okay? Again, initiation defines the project and secures approval. Planning involves setting objectives and outlining how to achieve them. Execution, on the other hand, is the implementation of the plan, while controls ensure progress with the plan. Finally, closeout formalizes completion and documents lessons learned. Think of it like a roadmap. Without it, your project can easily lose direction. So here's a picture of a roadmap. Okay? So let's start with project stakeholders. Who are project stakeholders? Anyone who can gain or lose from a project success or failure. Stakeholders include clients, sponsors, team members, and even end users. Their needs and expectations must be managed carefully. For example, a stakeholder might want a feature that wasn't part of the original scope. You must evaluate its impact on time, cost, and quality before proceeding. So, meaning to say, clear communication and stakeholder involvement are essential throughout the project. Let's break down key stakeholders. Let's start with customer or client. They are the recipients of the project deliverables. Again, they are the recipients of the project deliverables. Project sponsor. They provide funding and high level support. Project manager, they oversee the project day to day. And lastly, project team executes tasks and contributes technical skills. So each plays a vital role. For a project to succeed, all stakeholders must collaborate effectively. Miscommunication or lack of engagement from any one of the group can derail projects and progress. Okay? Next, what are your responsibilities as project manager or as part of the project management team? The project manager wears many hats. They define and manage customer expectations, coordinate planning, monitor performance, manage changes, lead the team, and maintain documentation. They are also responsible for closing the project formally. Imagine you're managing a product launch. You need to align marketing, logistics, product development, and customer service, and report to leadership. The project manager ensures all teams are in sync and moving toward a common goal. So you understand that? So as part of the project management, you need to collaborate. You need to have a strong and efficient communication in order for you to achieve your goals. All right? Understood? Okay? Next, let's move on to the team members. Team members also have critical responsibilities. They identify tasks, estimate durations, report status honestly, raise issues, and keep managers informed. Their input during planning and execution shapes the project's success. Honesty is emphasized before sugarcoating problems, before it leads to delay and cost overruns. So meaning to say, good team communication and accountability are key ingredients of a successful project team. So in your team, in your company, in your environment, are you all have a good communication? Do you have a good communication in your environment right now? Let me see in the chat box. Do you have a good communication in your team? Let me see. Yes or no? Can you type yes if yes, no if no? Do you have a good communication in your company? Let me see. No answer in the chat box. I am assuming that you have a good communication, right? Thank you. Lin Ji Yuan. Thank you, Wang. Now let's start with the statement of work. Project plan contents. Okay? The project plan is your master document. Thank you, Woodini, Wang Shushu, Lin Ji Wan. Thank you. It contains everything from the statement of work to resource plans, schedules, and budgets, and also quality standards. It also includes communication strategies and risk mitigation plans. This document keeps everyone aligned and ensures that no important aspect of the project is overlooked. Imagine running a marathon without a map or water stations. You wouldn't make it far. Similarly, a project without plan is bound to fail or veer off track. So what are the benefits of this project plan? Why do we go to why do we go to great lengths to develop a detailed project plan? Because it sets the foundation. It clarifies goals, defines deliverables, establishes accountability. Are you still here? Okay. 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 Welcome to our webinar for that one person who just entered our room. A solid plan allows to measure progress, manage change, and demonstrate success to stakeholders. Think of it as a contract and compass rolled into one. It both guides and protects the project. Now let's move on to the project notebook. Your project notebook is the central repository for everything related to the project. This includes background info, stakeholder data, meeting minutes, correspondence, and administrative documents. So technically, all the necessary documents are in the project notebook. It should evolve throughout the project, serving as both a real-time tracker and historical record. This documentation is especially valuable when projects span long durations or involve team changes. A well-maintained notebook makes transitions and audits seamless. If you do not want to print many papers for sustainability, you can have a digital notebook. For example, you have your folder in Google Drive or in your cloud. So you just need to um, set up a folder and upload everything in an organized manner. Okay? Next, statement of work. The statement of work defines what the project will accomplish and the work involved. It captures the scope, purpose, deliverables, timeline, and responsibilities. These documents serve as a baseline for all planning. So it serves as the baseline. If your statement of work is vague, expect confusion and misaligned expectations later. Spend time getting it right. It's the first commitment between client and provider. So you need to understand that a statement of work is really important. So you need to establish a clear, concise, and easy to understand statement of work. Understood? Okay? Right. So questions a good statement of work answers. An effective SOW answers key questions. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Who is the customer? What are the deliverables? What's the timeline and budget? It also outlines success metrics and customer support requirements. If you can't answer this, you're not ready to proceed. The clearer the statement of work, the smoother your project journey. Remember that. The clearer the statement of work, the smoother your project journey. Okay? So, the generic statement of a work structure. A generic SOW includes fields for project title, purpose, background, deliverables, metrics, required support, and risk plans. This structure ensures no critical areas forgotten. It helps both the customer and the provider stay on the same page throughout the project life cycle. So here's the structure. The work breakdown structure, or the WBS, decomposes the project into smaller, manageable tasks. It's a visual or outline based structure showing all work needed, as you can see in your screen right now. Each level represents a more detailed breakdown. For example, in our diagram in your screen, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. All right, so this is where the project starts taking shape practically. You go from ideas to action items. So what's the purpose of this work breakdown structure? The WBS helps with assigning responsibilities, estimating resources, setting schedules, and tracking progress. It ensures that no work is duplicated or missed. So as you can see in your screen, the outline approach is used by Microsoft Project. So you can also use that tool in your Microsoft account. Think of it as a blueprint or your project's engine. Each part must be present and in the right place for it to run smoothly. Okay. Now let's go to responsibility assignment matrix. The responsibility assignment matrix or RAM is a tool used to clarify roles and responsibilities in a project. One popular version is the RASIC matrix. We will go with that later, which stands for responsible, approve, support, inform, and consult. RASIC, RASIC. It's like basic, but on disregard B and change with letter R. RASIC or RASIC. It ensures that every task has a person accountable for completing it and that everyone involved knows their role. So here's the example of RASIC method or matrix. Let's look at how a RASIC matrix work in action. Imagine you're conducting a market study. The project manager might be responsible for finalizing the survey. Okay? So as you can see in the project manager um, tab, you can see letter C as consult, R for responsible, and for customer, I is for inform, and A is for approve. For team member, you just need to support. You need to do the work. For senior manager, of course, he's the responsible for identifying potential market. Um, letter I for inform and approve. Okay, for support staff, of course, you just need to support. Okay, marketing experts are consulted during survey design. So the matrix reduces confusion and improves accountability. Did you understand the diagram? No further questions? No questions at all? Okay, let's proceed. So Rasic Legend explained, responsible does the work. A, approve, signs off. S, support, assists the work. I, inform, needs to be updated. And C, consult, gives input before action. So this tool is best used after completing your WBS and SOW. Okay? Now, let's deal with project scheduling introduction. Scheduling is at the heart of project control. It helps you determine what needs to be done and by when. It enables you to set realistic deadlines, allocate resources, and track progress. A solid schedule turns a list of tasks into a game plan. So what's the purpose? Is schedules help answer the questions. Is the requested deadline achievable? When should each activity start and finish? What sequence should tasks follow? What resources are needed? When are we on track or behind? So here are the steps in scheduling. Step 1, you need to estimate durations of activities. You need to have a Gantt chart. Second, create a network diagram to visualize task sequence. Third, use the critical path method or CPM to calculate timelines. And lastly, present results using Gantt or milestone charts. So here's the example of WBS to network diagram. Once your WBS is ready, convert it into work progress, into task in a new network diagram. Okay? This shows dependencies. What must come first and what can run in parallel. For example, you can't test a feature until you've built it. The diagram helps visualize this logic. So you need to finish a task first before you analyze if that's effective or not. Okay? So here's the network diagram types. There are two main types. Precedence diagram method or PDM and arrow diagram method. For arrow diagram method, arrows represent tasks and nodes show milestones. Each helps identify the project structure and critical path. Next, for diagram method, activities are boxes connected by arrows showing dependencies. Okay? So what's the critical path method? The critical path is the sequence of tasks that determines the project's duration. Tasks on this path have zero float, meaning any delay directly impacts the entire timeline. Knowing your critical path helps you prioritize where to focus resources and monitoring efforts. Example, Project X critical path solution. So let's listen to this example. Let's review Project X schedule. By calculating early start or ES, late start LS, early finish EF, and late finish LF. Again, ES early start, EF early finish, LS late start, and LF late finish. We determine the float of each activity. Activities with zero float lie on the critical path, the one with the green highlights. So highlighting them allows you to see which tasks need extra attention. Okay? So for Gantt chart, a Gantt chart visualizes the schedule. Tasks are bars on a timeline. Critical tasks are shown in one color and tasks with float in one another. You can easily or instantly see overlaps, start finish dates, and slack time. So it's ideal for reporting progress to stakeholders. Who among you are using Gantt chart? Who's using Gantt chart? This diagram. Are you using Gantt chart in your project management or in your project? Can I see? Can I see in the chat box? Are you using Gantt chart or do you use Gantt chart? This is really effective and it's easy to monitor your progress. All right? Enhanced Gantt chart. It includes milestones and may use color coding or bar styles to reflect task status. For example, green for on track, yellow for at risk, and red for delayed. These visual cues help teams and executives monitor health at a glance. Okay, next, resource plan. Do you have any question so far? Any question? Press 5 if you have no question. Press 5 if you have no question. Let me see in the chat box. Okay. Thank you, Lynn, Shiwan, Woodini, Chizinan, Lee Jinwen. Thank you. Next, assigning resources. Lee Jinwen, thank you. A schedule is only realistic when resources are confirmed. For example, if a software developer is booked on another project during your build phase, your timeline won't work. Use resource histograms or calendars to visualize availability. So, non labor resources. What are these? Think beyond personnel. Do you need testing facilities? Are parts or prototypes available? Is equipment in working order? You can't run a test if the lab is under maintenance. These dependencies must be scheduled too. Okay? So project building and project budgeting. Let's now deal with the cost. Let's now deal with money. Let's now deal with budgeting. Okay. Budgeting isn't just about asking for money. It's a control mechanism. You allocate costs to each task using estimates from your WBS and schedule. This produces a time-phased budget, your baseline to monitor performance. All right? According to PMI, cost budgeting involves breaking down total cost estimates into work items. It creates a baseline against which actual spending is measured. Variances help detect problems early. So who among you are into budgeting? Who loves budgeting? Who loves doing this kind of evaluation, initial phase, monitoring? Who among you is fond or happy in doing money matters or budgeting? Let me see in the chat box. Do you want budgeting or are you okay with budgeting? Because as part of the project management team, you need to understand how to work with the budget. You need to align every objectives of the project in your budget. Okay? No one no one wants to budget. No one wants to deal with money. All right? All right, we're done with statement of work, work breakdown structure, responsibility, matrix, network, Gantt, resources, budget. Let's now deal with risk. Okay? What is risk? Risk is any threat to project success. It can come from inside the project, like a team member quitting, or outside, like a supply chain disruption or delayed supplies. Risk exists in every project. The earlier you identify it, the more options you have to manage it. So um what's the um most what do you think? Most problematic or most challenging risk in your company? What's the most challenging risk in your company? Let me see in the chat box. What's the most challenging risk? Let me see. Is it about money? Is it about people? Is it about your boss? Is it about your staff? Let me see in the chat box. What's the most challenging risk? Oh, I'm people. According to Lin Ji1, people. Yeah, sometimes it's really hard to deal with people, with your staff. Woodini said both money and people. Yeah, because you know, you're giving out money. and at the same time people are not doing their work properly, so you're having a problem with both risks. So it's really hard to deal with that, but first you need to identify what's the specific problem in that challenge. For example, if you have problem with people, like what Lin Ji1 and Woodini said, you deal first, or you need to identify first the problem with that person or the problem with those people. After you identify, you talk with them, ask them what's the problem inside. And if there's no internal problem, or there's no problem um, internally, ask them what's the problem in our environment. Do you have any problem with me? Do you have any problem with your boss? With compensation? So you need to understand. Okay? Identify the problem first, and then talk to that person or to those people and resolve. Okay? So for money, it's the same thing. What's the most challenging part of budgeting? Of course, the alignment of work, the alignment of project. Is this project really worth it in this specific budget? For example, your budget is 4 million pesos for a sports fest of your company. 4 million pesos, you're going to spend 4 million pesos for just a sports fest. So think about it. Do you really need to spend a lot of money for just a sports fest? So those are the risks. Do you understand? Press 4 if you understand, and no questions at all. Let me see in the chat box. Thank you, Lin Ji1. So you need to identify, okay, deal with that particular challenge and resolve. Do not resolve immediately. You need to dig deeper first. Thank you for your answers. No questions at all. Okay, let's proceed. So those are risks. What are the sources of risk? Cost, quality, schedule, and scope. Risk planning isn't one time. It continues throughout the life of the project. Okay? So now let's deal with project implementation. Now, we entered the execution phase. Tasks are carried out according to the plan. This is where your coordination and leadership matter most. You'll be handling deliverables, issues, and ongoing communication. What's the model? Implementation model. Step 1, perform tasks. Okay? Of course, you need to perform all deliverables, because if that step 1 is not in accordance with the time allotted, or with the time allotment, you cannot work with step 2, because you're not yet done with the step 1. So you need to finish, you need to comply with everything before you proceed with the next step. Next step, track progress. So after you're done with deliverables, after you perform with your tasks, you need to track your progress. If there's a problem and the issues along the way, you need to resolve issues. You need to manage change. Okay? So that's how you manage change. You need to resolve everything. You need to resolve every issue. Okay? And next, upgrade the plan. Each step ensures the project stays aligned with goals and can respond to real world challenges. Um avoid thinking of a challenges or issue that is not um that cannot be resolved in real world or in reality. So you need to think of a specific and can be resolved in a manner of time and you know strategy. So you need to strategize. Okay? So this is the implementation model. So how are you going um to check the progress of our project? We need to report prog- our project for us to know the progress. Where are we now? Okay, so use two main tools. Progress review meetings. Discuss what's done, what's delayed, and why. And project reports. Provide written summaries for leadership and stakeholders. Consistency is key. Okay? Always remember that you need to be consistent. So, first, you need to have a report. You need to prepare, you need to deal with your report. After you have the report, after you have accomplished your report, you will now proceed with the meeting. And you will review everything you've written in your report. And after that, you need to resolve some issues um, in that particular project. So, in your company, do you have meetings? Do you have regular meetings? May I see in the chat box? Do you meet regularly for feedbacking or progress report? Do you have that? Let me see in the chat box. Oh, sometimes. Okay. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay to have a meeting, for example, twice a week or once a week. It's okay as long as you monitor your progress. Okay? It's okay to not have a meeting in a week, but always remember that you monitor your progress. Okay? Next, progress review meeting. So, what will be your agenda in your meeting? So, here's the typical agenda items: review of past action items, schedule updates, problems and planned fixes, open and closed issues, change request status, risk status, plans for next period. So document minutes and share them within 48 hours. It's really important to prepare a minute of the meeting or MOM, because in the next meeting, you will read what you have agreed in the previous meeting, and you need to update the line item that you've talked with in the previous meeting. So you need to have a minutes of the meeting. Understood? It's important to have a minutes of the meeting. Okay. Now, let's track and control. Project tracking and control. Tracking progress involves measuring current status against the plan. If you're behind schedule or over budget, take corrective action. Control means staying proactive. Don't wait for small issues to become crisis. Like what I've said earlier, if you already identify the challenges or the issue, deal with that and resolve. Okay? Identify, deal, resolve. Okay? Managing change. Change is inevitable. Maybe the client wants a new feature or delivery is delayed. Follow a process. Okay? Where's that? Okay, identify the change. Discuss with team, explore options, use a decision matrix, and present to management. Okay, but how are we going to address these changes? So call a team meeting, explain the change, and then gather feedback and present alternatives. So choose the best path, document it, and seek approval if needed. Communication and documentation are crucial. So you need to discuss the nitty-gritty of every project. You need to discuss the small details of each project and each issues and challenges that you've experienced along the way. Okay? Now, issue resolution. Issues are unresolved problems. Track them formally. Assign a number. Record priority. Designate an owner. Set a due date. Monitor status and escalate if necessary. Close when resolved. This keeps the project from being derailed by unaddressed challenges. So for you to resolve, you need to have a point person to monitor the progress. And after you have identified that person, you give him or give her deliverables in having a strategic analyzation and monitoring of the progress. Okay? So you need to have that point person. You need to have that person who will understand the progress and who will identify the issues for you to have a well monitored project. Okay? So plan updates. As you resolve issues and approve changes, update the plan. This ensures that all decisions are reflected and new baselines are established. It also improves forecasting and team alignment. Okay? So once you resolve everything, update the plan and then proceed to close out. When the work is done, it's time to close out. This includes verifying that all deliverables are complete, success metrics were met, and documentation is finalized. Closing out also means capturing lessons learned. So everything from the beginning to end, you need to document it wisely. You need to make sure that everything is in proper order. You need to be sure that every deliverables are or were delivered. Okay? So project managers close out role. You need to confirm deliverables were accepted, review project success matrix, hold internal and client closeout meetings, write the final report, archive documents and lessons. This process ensures nothing is left unfinished. All right. Next, evaluate success. Did the project meet its goals for scope, cost, quality, and schedule? Were the customer's needs satisfied? Use metrics defined in the SOW to evaluate. Feedback from stakeholders also helps gauge success. So how are we going to conduct closeout meeting? Gather all key stakeholders. Review what went well, what didn't, and what to do differently next time. What went well, what didn't, and what to do next time. This is not just closure. It's improvement for future projects. Next, share lessons learned. Document insights in a central database or post post-mortem report, update forms, templates, and processes. Your experience can help others avoid the same mistakes or replicate successes. So once you identify in your close out meeting, you need to change everything. You need to update the forms or documents that needs to be changed. You need to make sure that the next project management team will be easily guided and will be thoroughly guided. And you need to ensure that all lessons learned has been established. Okay? Do you understand everything? No questions? No questions? It's already 1:56. So I will now open the floor for question. If you have no question, we will end this meeting. We will end this training if you have no question at all. No question. Type 4 if you have no question. Let me see in the chat box. 4. Okay. Okay. So you've now walked through the complete roadmap to project management success, from planning and execution to risk, resources, and closeout. So thank you for your attention and participation. I wish you success in all your future projects. Don't just manage. Lead with clarity, integrity, and purpose. Sheshe, God bless. Thank you. Thank you, Wang Shushu, Cheesy Nan.